Yeah. All right. We're recording. This is Goddammit Zach with no Zach because he's a slacker. This is the level of professionalism we bring to online interviews. But our guest today is Curt Gould. Hey, Curt.
It's great to finally be here and
finally be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to get Curt on like since we began, and he's always brushed us off and big timed us. And
that's actually not true.
That's not true at all.
That says I'm like one of your number one fans. I'm stalking you guys constantly. So.
Well,
if I didn't see you in the actual audience on like Facebook, I wouldn't have believed you. Our audience is small.
The hilarious thing about this is after week 6 of quarantine, Curt actually contacted us and wanted to be on the show. So he wanted something with absolutely no responsibility.
He doesn't know the show fee though, does he? The origination fee? I don't think he does.
Yeah. So, okay, we were talking a little bit before the show started, so let's get those WotC numbers now.
Yeah.
That now is the time for that.
We are convinced of how many players.
Sales are up like oh, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
They're up everywhere else, but whatever. Yeah. Sales. This is sale at pennies. Okay.
No, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I will. As I'll say to the audience, who I'm sure like everybody watching this knows who I am, But I while I do work at Wizards of the Coast, and I have worked at Wizards of the Coast for over 20 years, I'm not formally representing Wizards of the Coast.
No, of course not.
Good Lord.
Never asked you to.
We just did a recording with Eric Mona of Paizo Publishing, and he was very clear he was not on our show as a spokesman for Paizo Publishing.
Because we talked about White Castle.
Yeah, which is really probably best. I think it's fair to assume that anybody who has come on our show is not representing anything other than their opinion at that moment.
That's must be true, because honestly, the only joy we have in a show like this is try to make you say things you could never say officially. Anyway, so
let's
Curt,
start off.
Yeah, can you explain what you do there that is like in a vague term so people understand, because they think everybody there is busy throwing things at each other with Nerf guns and writing important deep D&D books.
Right.
Which is a lot of what happens at WotC, but I'm the director of supply chain, which is I'm an aspect of operations. I'm kind of in charge of all the back end of everything that goes on, everything from purchasing, inventory control, product data management. Like my team's in charge of the barcodes. I'm in charge of all the logistics.
So far, you could work at Walmart and you couldn't tell the difference with your description.
It's true.
That's awesome.
But I get to work on D&D.
Yeah,
which is
that's
amazing.
That's the best. That's the best part. So I'll give you my address so the barcodes for the miniatures can come right to my front door, so I don't have to worry about it.
You have no room for miniatures, you fool. We know that's not true.
No, weirdly enough, we're talking about remodeling the house.
So
since we've both been stuck in the house for 6 weeks, we're like, maybe we need a bigger house. I'm sure that's Jen just trying to get away from me.
Mine hasn't tried yet, but it's going to happen. We're so used to her being a flat hand, she's gone 3 days a week, that this togetherness is a different experience. So it's great though. She's wonderful. She'll be watching this later. I think she's number one. So,
but it is very cool when you're in a position where that I love what I do. I love logistics. I love supply chain. I love the fact that we're moving stuff all around the planet. It's like one big rail game, but I'm moving something that I'm passionate about.
Socks.
And I feel like we're making the world a better place.
Well, I see WotC stuff everywhere, which makes my tiny raisin of a heart grow 3 sizes, because it's like, yay! It only took 40 years, but now it's cool again.
Right next to Tool socks, the band Tool. Right next to that were these ampersand socks. It was awesome.
Not only the the lifestyle products, but just seeing product in Target just makes me happy, right?
I'm going to tell my one fanboy experience. I'm Curt's fan. I know this seems weird because he tries to deny it, but I know what his job is because I took in college supply chain management. And I'm astounded by how things move and how things work and the interactions. And the day I walked into a California Target, and there it was, I saw the star set. And I texted Curt and said, "Oh, thank you. Because of stuff you do, the hobby's even getting bigger." He goes, "I wish I could have been there to rearrange the shelf." Kurt's actual reply.
Perfect.
Like, I get it. That's why you're good at what you do. But I'm fascinated with the fact that, like I said, you could completely replace all the things you've said about your job so far. You could be selling, like, spigots for like seed plants to grow with water, all kinds of irrigation supplies.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the same kind of job, but you pick the one that's the coolest one.
I am very fortunate in what I do and what I've been able to do. I've been doing this, like I said, 20 years, and I wake up every single day with a smile and just excitement about getting to go to work. I
smile when they're going to do evil stuff, though, too.
True, but and there's a little bit of that, but no. It's more I get to do my dream every day. Every day I'm going to work and I realize how lucky I am. I go to work and I get to hang out with the creators and watch the creative process. I realize my brain does not have that creative capability.
They probably have the same thing with you.
I have seen and been able to do so much play testing and been around the amazing work that's being done. And, I'm really good with numbers and organization, but to watch people come up with ideas just off the top of their head, it blows my mind. You're both very familiar with it. It's like watching Bill Webb.
Oh, boy.
DM a DM session, right? Where it's just
well, yeah. I was just gonna say, if the creatives who write were in charge of distributing product, like a pallet of stuff would get sent to Death Valley just on accident.
And they'd be, okay, we'll just send it back,
Yeah, whatever, man.
Whatever.
It really takes a spectrum of people very good at certain things. I mean, when you started 20 years ago, did you have any inkling that D&D would again take over the world? I mean, has it ever been like this?
No.
You guys are everywhere.
It was a cigar-filled room he planned it in. He planned this to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so we have you to thank for this.
Crazier than ever. But I was fortunate enough to start actually in the second edition era. And I watched the explosion of third edition.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, okay, this is amazing. And then of course fifth edition has just skyrocketed and brought everybody together. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, now you get celebrities doing streams of games and
want to talk to you.
They're, like Critical was it true. Critical Role that did the Kickstarter that got like $10 million or $6 million?
Yeah, something like that. It's just ridiculous. Unbelievable.
And it's fantastic. It's great for the game. Even if for some reason you choose to play a game that is not WotC, I know I'm going to get in trouble for even saying that, but they are the people that have gaming going. I mean, if it was not for fifth edition, these would be dark days.
If it was not for fifth edition, I would still be sitting on my couch playing Skyrim.
Yeah, we wouldn't have this show for sure.
Should I apologize? No, that sounds pretty good.
Some days maybe you should, but it's in VR now, so I'm okay with it. No, but seriously, it's there was a time when our hobby was kind of just drifting, and we could have wound up like the model railroad guys. They really were into it, and they had stores and they had networks and they had all this stuff that made their hobby big, but it didn't go on to another generation. Right now, he feels so much younger than me. My nephew thinks it's awesome that I do this. He thinks Uncle Zach, he's got it all figured out. that wasn't how I saw it happening. I kind of saw the collectibles be valuable for another 10 years. It's kind of go less and less and be less relevant. And then 5th edition showed up, and I read the PDF. And I was like, this is good. I don't have the reaction very often. I really don't. I've read thousands of them. This is I was like, this is really well balanced for what I want to see and what everybody else wants to see. And then now, look at you. You're sitting on top of a big old pile of money like Scrooge McDuck.
Well, not me so much. I'm sitting on really big pile of Dungeons and Dragons books. That's for sure, though.
Yeah, I see your shelf over there. I see the books on there.
No, that is a small representation, though. I generally speaking am a, strangely enough, a minimalist, except when it comes to D&D. Like
everybody's got a
D&D.
For some people, it's smack.
I'm a dragon hoarder, and I have more D&D than I will ever be able to read in my lifetime.
Well, we're going to get into some of your purchases at the midnight auction in North Texas a little bit later.
There's some things we want you to explain too.
But my first question I always ask everybody: what was your first RPG experience?
Well, I still remember, it's kind of a two-parter, and I was in 4th grade and just started 4th grade at a new school, and I distinctly remember some kids who were older than me sitting around playing this game, and they described this magical thing like they were actually there. They were battling monsters and finding treasure, and I was totally enamored about this. And I asked them what it was, and they told me it was Dungeons and Dragons. And I kind of became obsessed with finding this game. And I still remember to this day going to the Lake Hills toy store and seeing the Dungeons and Dragons box set, the home set with that Sutherland art. And I remember that moment reaching up, because I was pretty small. I had to reach up and holding it in my hands like this was the treasure.
Yep.
And so I got it, brought it back, read the whole thing, convinced my stepdad to DM a game for my friend and I. After having already read everything, including the adventure.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And this was the version that had the chits in it. It didn't have the dice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it had D1 in it, right?
We had this one had Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first adventure. But I didn't have the dice, but we had the chits. But I had 6-siders from other board games.
Right.
And I had a dreidel for the 8-sider.
That is so awesome.
Sweet.
Oh my God, that is badass. That's
Sweet.
Any port in a storm, that's awesome.
But then we proceeded to go into the keep, and to my former stepdad's credit, he actually role played us buying all of the materials for our characters at the shop.
Oh, wow.
To equip our characters.
Right
and
on.
Even that was this crazy experience, because as a 9-year-old, I felt like I had money and I could buy things, right?
So is this being an adult?
Yeah. Mommy with a halberd. Yeah.
And then we walked out of the keep, and I'm describing this because I did it, right? That's how you feel. I walked out of the keep, went right to the bandit's lair, got into a fight, and died.
Yeah.
And I was hooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely hooked. It was the craziest, most wonderful thing ever.
I died in my first adventure, and I was like, oh yeah, this is for me.
Well, and I think one of the points you bring that up is that what's made 5th edition so great again, what's done for all of us, is we can have shared experiences like we just here with Keep the Borderlands. Right. Young people can play it now, and like they play Curse of Strahd, and they all know what they did in it. They all been the same place and done it differently. So you have kind of a shared narrative that is, goes off. We didn't have that for a while. There's so many products in the D20 area, so many things people are into. We didn't have our own common mythology, basically, our canon, and we have that again. Even if I'm not going to play some of the Wizards books because I don't have a group, I buy them because I want to know what's happening with everybody else in my tribe. So,
Yeah.
No, that's back. I thought that would never come back again. So
I had a brief moment like that with third edition, because right when third edition came out, or soon after it came out, the first adventure was Sunless Citadel, which Bruce Cordell really liked that adventure. And I was playing it with my friends, and I stopped for a moment and I said, remember this moment, because right now there are tens of thousands of people doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because this module just came out. It's the weekend. Everybody is playing this thing. Yeah. And this was the module that introduced the NPC Meepo the Kobold.
Yep.
Who is one of my favorite NPCs of all time.
Yeah, it's on my shelf behind the screen.
He's in the Metropolitan Gorilla, is he?
Yeah.
And there was some, again, shared experience where everybody knows that character, and many people had it join their party.
They met it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That character has taken on so much life and gotten so many stories. It's crazy. But what you brought up, one of the most painful experiences of gaming was when I had to explain to some people what chits even were. They did not have that knowledge. And I'm like, well,
I found some laying around.
Come on over and let the old man tell you a story about how things used to be.
I seriously picked up some up here in my room today.
Yeah.
My nephew wouldn't know.
I still find one or two in boxes, like, just lying around.
I think what would be awesome if somebody made a phone app just with random chits showing up. And you lose like a third of them. So they're not available.
I'm missing the 9, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. We can make the 6 work, Yeah, just so Curt, do you even get to play anymore? Do you have time to play?
Yes.
I do play right now. I'm running a Roll20. I'm doing Dragon Heist right now for Roll20, and then I have a lunch game of Boot Hill.
That's awesome.
Being run by awesome. Mike Merles.
Oh boy!
I haven't had that since 9th grade.
Hey, you should call up Winter. He's not that far away.
Well, I'm prepping. I'm hoping for the con either this year or later this year to play in this game, right?
So that's actually one of the questions I was going to bring up. Since we've had this viral issue and cons are going virtual, as a fan of the genre and a player, what's your opinion about virtual gaming? Do you think it's going to get bigger? Is it a phase?
Yeah, I mean, this is my opinion, but yeah, I think it's going to get bigger as the systems get better and better. As far as the communication becomes smoother, the capabilities given to the DM get better and better. And I think this particular situation is kind of forcing the issue.
Right.
Right. I'm playing more virtual games than I ever have before.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. And I know we are not affiliated with any particular company that's doing virtual. I know Fantasy Grounds just rolled out a new version of Fantasy Grounds, and I bet all of these companies are just shitting a brick right now, because I mean they went from X amount of players to almost overnight,
potential pool group.
YZ, A, B, and D amount of players are now clamoring for this, and people are being pretty creative about it. But I mean, that's a load.
My boss can't open a PC, and he ran a virtual game 2 weeks ago. And he ran it for my mom on Thursday. My mom was in a group of his.
Yeah.
So so I'm telling you, it's not fly by night, because he can't figure out someday what day it is, but he figured out how to use Zoom to run a game. So.
Well, you know D&D is in a good place when Zach's mom is playing.
Yeah, no, seriously.
That is
Probably
awesome.
I handed her my Earl Otis box set. That wasn't the original one, but I handed it to her. I'm like, you bought me this at a Mervin's in 1981.
That's
and I have a job
awesome.
now, and now for the first time you're gonna get to play. And so she sat down, and she played. Her big reaction was, "Well, Bill's like, there's a tower and surrounded by all these dead bodies. Like, why would we go to a tower surrounded by dead bodies?" I'm like, that is like the real thing you get from a new player.
That is the best non-gamer answer ever. It's like, all right, I'm going home. Forget it.
No, she had a good time, and I think she might even go back. But that's how much bigger it's become. And I mean, say virtual, that's her first game, and to her, it was the same thing. The thing she talked about in that game was like she'd been at a table with everybody else.
That's great. I mean, gaming, the one thing everybody can argue, I am a huge proponent for stopping the edition wars. I mean, everybody can have their favorite version that they like to play. I get that. That's fine. That's the same thing with board games. But everybody's shitting on each other for what version of D&D they play or don't even like it. I am 100% against that. Yeah. And now I lost my point. I don't even know what I was.
End, man. Begun the editions war I have was 74, right?
Yeah.
I will say this about the online game that, and I'm sure you guys understand this, is being able to play with people from around the world is mind blowing. And
oh yeah,
like the people who I'm currently playing with in my Dragon Heist campaign are the people, at least some of them, that I was playing with in 4th grade when I first started.
Oh, that's great.
And they're over on the East Coast, but we can play. It's fantastic. Now,
community. That's what I was trying to make a point about. Damn. I got snakes in my brain.
I did it. I've had that meme. I got that picture.
I know. No, that was the point that I was trying to make, was that community in gaming is amazing. You get the opportunity to play with your buddies from 4th grade. I'm in a game tomorrow with people from Wisconsin, like New York, I think, all over the U.S. Other games we had an interview with Heath Farndon in Australia.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Having the ability to reach people is only going to make these games better.
Plus, if you want a game anytime, day or night, there's somebody awake. There's somebody somewhere in the
somewhere
world.
There's a game going on.
I play with a lot of Australians who are like the middle of the night guys. They're working at like an IT place, and all of a sudden you hear the action, you're like, yep, that's who I'm with. And it was great because you know what? Fundamentally, it plays exactly the same once you can understand their version of English.
Yeah.
Yeah, their version. Okay, let's dive into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
So there's a convention held in Texas called the North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention. Now, whether it's going to happen this year or not, we don't know. It's the first weekend of June. Curt is frequently a guest, or so I've been told. I've never seen him in person there. So let's give some plausible deniability.
Where's your first year?
North Texas RPG is by far my favorite con, and I am touting it constantly to anyone who will listen, even at the office. It is the con that I went to because of its origins in the collector community, particularly via the ASAM. I kept hearing about it, and finally it was year 5. I was like, okay, I need to go to this thing. And as soon as I showed up, I was home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't it?
It's been said many times before, but you go there and you just find your people.
Yeah.
And you found the people who made the stuff to help you find your people. Like, hi, I'm Steve Winter. I'm Jim Ward. Hi, I'm sitting in the middle between the car.
Yeah. Isn't it insane, the people that are there?
Particularly the first few times you go. I mean, I'm still not fully used to it to this day, but it's a little better. But my very first, the first official day, in the morning, the very first thing I did was join the celebrity game in Doug's celebrity game.
Yeah.
And initially I didn't know who a lot of these people looked like.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know.
It's a bunch of old guys.
Yeah,
Now,
I didn't
who are
know what
you?
Errol,
Who are you?
I didn't
Who
know.
are you?
It's like,
Right.
and I'm sitting down at the table. It's like, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm Errol Otis.
I know.
Right.
Like I'm just.
He looks so normal.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm Dennis Sedair. You know, like what's going? I'm Rob Coots. I'm Jim Ward. I'm Frank Menser, Tim Kask. I'm like, okay, be
Curt.
cool, Curt. Be cool.
My name's Curt.
I did it the first year I was there. I still had the picture of me with everybody I was in there with. It's one of my favorite pictures. Though I can't remember the game at all, except that Jim Ward could not remember the rules for some of the spell.
I have never been able to get into that game.
They won't let you.
So I have this for the two of you.
Jim Ward played a bard, and his instrument was the kettle drums.
That seems on brand.
It was epic.
That sounds fantastic.
In my game, Tim Kask played a masturbating habit. So
again, on brand.
I'm serious though. That's no lie.
So when you're at North Texas, do you actually get to be just a fan and enjoy it, or because you work in the biz at the level you do, have you seen behind the curtain too much, or can you just enjoy it as a fan?
Oh no, I enjoy it as a fan. However, I am constantly have to be somewhat on guard about what I say.
Yeah,
because I have to be.
See, I don't have that.
Every favorite is very hot, and you can't talk about it.
I mean, not that I know that much, but there's certain information that I just shouldn't share.
Yeah, of course.
And because a lot of people, particularly on the marketing side, people have a lot of buildup of information, and they want surprise and delight, and I don't want to spoil things, right?
Yeah,
last time I saw you was the night before you released the Rick and Morty D&D, and you didn't say a word.
And
that's the kind of thing I just
and
honestly,
I was 6 hours with him.
That box set is amazing. I mean, being a fan of Rick and Morty and D&D, looking at that set, whoever worked on that, and I don't know who it was, they nailed it. I mean, it is so good.
Yeah, I think that was Kate Welch, but a lot of people worked on it overall. I really think that would just make, and I think I mentioned it in one of your shows before, I think it would just make for great con games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So the people that you've gotten over the last, dozen years or so working in R&D and development, holy cow! Top shelf talent. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that you guys have been putting out is amazing. Yeah. Really good.
And that's where being at the company and being able to witness that on a daily basis is one of the reasons I'm just so lucky, right? I'm able to go in and see that whole process taking place. It's just fantastic. I realize from my position, I'm in this really unusual scenario of being a hardcore D&D fanatic and also a hardcore D&D collector, and I'm living the best of both worlds.
Yep.
Right? Being on the front lines here.
You have to tell, for the audience here, you told me the story of your little room you were locked in when you first started working there to go through the archives.
Yeah, as many people know that I did, as much as I can tell, I was de-archived a lot of the TSR warehouse and was able to take a good portion of that to Gen Con to present as part of the major auction. We did the Gen Con auction for Gary at the time. That was one of the first times I met many of the people who now attend North Texas, like Bill Meinhardt and such.
He just emailed me today trying to get me to buy something. Seriously, the Fang Fortress or whatever. Anyway.
He's in the game I'm in tomorrow, which is crazy.
When you're, I'm hardcore into collecting. I have this thing about, gathering the data and databases. I explained it to my coworkers. I'm like, I'm dealing with D&D numbers every day, and then I go home at night, open up a spreadsheet, and start dealing with D&D numbers. I'm like, I'm recording barcodes at home and trying to find different printings.
This edition of, the Peter Rice's, Street of Gems had a barcode that said this, but this one was different with a B on the end. Like, what is the difference? What's the discrepancy? Yeah.
So is it getting harder to find things that you are willing to put in your collection? I mean, you can go anywhere and find some, ooh, I want that. Ooh, I want that. But I mean, are you getting more discerning about what you're after these
You're out of
days?
space. He's asking if you're out of space.
No, I'm not. Because you can get more space.
That's true.
Well, I space is a concern. I've gotten so much stuff.
We're going to expand our house. I'll hold on to it for you.
Well, I will. I think I've told you both this story at one time, but I'll say it for the audience. I got probably one of the D&D collector mother loads of all time, which is in 2005, when we were moving offices, they decided to reduce the size of the R&D library dramatically.
Oh, wait, no, it's a pain. Oh, it's sharp.
And they had this weird, they decided to open it up to the employees and have a sale. And they did this unusual thing where they said, okay, anything in the R&D library starts out, it's $10. Anything. And I'm just going through, and then that was after an hour, it got reduced to $5.
It went down in price?
And then after another hour, it went down to $1.
So that's when you picked up your first edition Boot Hill, huh?
And I'm going through.
It's just sold all to you.
John Ratliff was running this thing. And it got down to the point where it's just $1. And even when it was $10, there's only about like 6 or 8 people in there. And I'm just going nuts, right? Mm-hmm. And then finally, John's like, Curt, I got to go. I'm the only one in there. And I said, I looked around and I was like, I will give you 25 cents for everything. 25 cents a piece. And he's like, done, whatever.
Wow.
You know, I live like an hour from Wizards, right? I can be there in no time.
And I was excited when Bill and I bought Don't Give the Ship and Tricolor at a cover price because nobody knew what they were.
Oh, man.
They were heroes. You got 25 cents for probably the half-orc costume for Halloween. You jerk.
It was just,
so
many items. I am still cataloging them.
Oh, yeah. No.
My heart hurt. That hurts. Ouch. Oh.
But that said, I mean, I don't want people to think that it was just filled with all these old, wood grain boxes and stuff.
No.
This was a lot of second edition Dragonlance, Marvel Superheroes, Star Frontiers,
Alternity.
Alternity, a lot of Alternity. But still, it was cool, right?
Yeah, it's super cool.
You have classics like this?
I actually do not have 4th Dimension. I have failed in that respect.
Well, you're not missing much.
Well, Zach will be happy to give that to you next time you guys see it.
I might actually, because Mike Ballow, he tricked me into buying it, saying it was great, and I bought it, and I found $10 cheaper 2 days later.
Oh,
that happens a lot. When you wear horns on your head when you sell things, you should probably learn my lesson from that. But no.
So that's one of the reasons I bring stuff to give away at like North Texas is I realized that I got really lucky, and it's not like I can sell this stuff. I'm not allowed to while I'm an employee of Wizards of the Coast.
So you'll bribe people with it. That's good.
But I can give it away to help out like the cons and such. So
yeah.
It's
what about
really helpful?
Like poor designers who are guys behind them.
Well, and that stuff is much appreciated by the convention.
Oh, it is.
You've been fantastic about donating stuff and being a supporter.
Planescape hat went for a fortune, man.
I was really shocked on that one, but I'm glad it was for North Texas. It was,
Well,
it was great.
there is a lot of booze flowing in bitters by that point. So yeah, everybody gets excited and
Well, and that's only 4 o'clock of the regular auction. That just carries over. It's kind of like a college spring break that won't quit.
yeah, the midnight auction, which I'm hesitant to even bring up, yeah, that gets a little bit more rowdy. And
my wife is a part of it. See, this is the part that
so is mine.
10 years ago, you said my wife is going to be in an auction with a big guy in a red suit with horns selling old D&D boxes and various other paraphernalia. And then I would have been, okay, you're on drugs.
And without a doubt, more popular than either one of us in the gaming community.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hands down.
That is my favorite event all year, and I know what's going to happen there because I buy half the stuff.
It is so much fun. I've been to every single one, and it is what I look forward to the most at that convention.
It's crazy. And the things we don't say, there are things we come up with like, we just can't. It's just too soon. And some are really bad too, but
Curt, can you believe how much that auction has grown? From the beginning when it was like 30 people in a side room. Now they have to actually this year, if it happens, they're moving it out of the auditorium into
safety reasons.
Yeah, into one of the main rooms. It's just insane.
They could have that thing go for 3 hours and people would continually
I don't think Mike has the stamina.
No, I know, but
I think he would drop.
They're trying to cram so much into such a short
we have
period
so
of
much.
time.
It's so funny. You wanted to have it all get out, but when we were there with our partner for Humble Bundle that we came to visit and saw it. They'd never seen a con before. They'd never seen that. But we got to go to the midnight auction, and the guy I was with named Kenny, he was their ops guy, and he's like the huge fan of Alternity and all these other games from that era. And he said he thought he was going to actually not be able to breathe anymore. He's on the side wall and fell over.
Just laughing.
Funny. The whole time he goes, "You guys are crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, you would think RPG nerd convention wouldn't be quite this fun."
Yeah.
When Rock Out Loud jumped up to, it just went down.
Oh yeah, that I don't need to remember that part.
But just the amount that people will bid on what is frankly absolute garbage.
Oh yeah.
Zeb Cook signed my copy.
All my children.
Got signed by Zeb Cook, who owned up finally.
That's one of my favorite pictures is him owning up on that.
It was me.
I think I spent $25 for a North Texas signed dice bag that the only actual signature was my own. And
Mike and I sat there and we listened to people that should sign it. Like, well, Barbara Streisand probably go,
Yeah, the one that I can see the best is Bill Cosby, which has just horrible connotations.
I wasn't there when that happened.
Yeah, sure.
I have one of those celebrity dice bags as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So that brings me to the next one of my actual questions. What is your most prized RPG item in your collection?
And where is it located?
And I'm on my way down right now.
It is, I'm staring at it right now, but is currently in shrink wrap because it was just returned to me a couple of weeks ago, which is my wood grain, first edition wood grain box set.
We saw it, Skeeter, at the museum.
Yep.
That was the one that was in the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle.
We were there.
And I think they're actually
I have taken many pictures of that.
Your name was on it, right? I think Skeeter and I talked about, hey, we know him.
We were trying to figure out how to steal it.
I think Alex is going to go in there next because he has a better condition one than mine. Not that mine was bad, but his is definitely much better.
Better condition than yours.
But I will say that I was so honored because I was there when it was first opened and they had that box in there, and it was in a case and they had this security guard next to the case, and it was the only case in the whole place that had a security guard saying no photographs. You can't take any flash photography, no photographs or anything. It was not because of my box set, but it was because they had the original Tolkien Lord of the Rings manuscripts in there.
You should say it's because of your box set.
And my box set was right next to it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
So,
No,
so the Tolkien and Gygax DNA have mixed.
They've always been mixed. They just wouldn't admit it.
With that DNA, you can make the greatest of all nerds.
Yeah.
With that combination,
You would destroy
one to
lesser
rule
nerds in
them
your
all.
way.
But I will say while that's it was just from the collecting standpoint, that's what I always wanted. That's kind of like the holy grail if you collect D&D, and as a mainstream item. As a unique item that I'm really happy that I have is I have the original art for the What's New from Dragon Magazine number 84. And
not anymore.
That's the final of the original What's News when they go to TSR.
Yeah.
And I got that right after I joined Wizards of the Coast. And
wow.
It was actually when you could go on and actually just buy original art. And he still had that particular piece of art, like just on his website. And I was like, buy. I need this.
That is ridiculous.
Aaron Leader at Noble Knight has the original deities and demigods painting, right?
Oh, yes.
And I always figured that is worthy of a movie like Ocean's 11, but like, Lake Geneva 6, go and get arrested.
We did that. Were you there? Or was
I was there. We're not talking about it. Because that actually is one where I feel like how Curt must feel right now. Bring that up. My wife might see this.
All I'm going to say is a plan was hatched, and it wasn't very much of a plan as a grab and run.
It wasn't a good plan, but it was a plan. And there was no real plan for them to get out of jail when I said that wasn't going to help.
Yeah.
Won't name names, but some of them were former TSR people. Some of them were people I work with. A few of them were people that I see. I mean, I'm like, well.
One of them was a person in this conversation.
I was there too. It was at that fancy steakhouse, of course, because Bill was buying his pajama pants. So.
Yeah, no, that kind of stuff is just so crazy cool.
One of the things that made that particular piece even more special for me is Dragon 84 was the very first dragon that I purchased off the shelf.
With your own money. That's so awesome.
So that was... And additionally, of course, it's of them going to TSR, and their goal is to find Kim Mohan.
Yeah.
And
I've seen him.
And,
hard to find.
And I was working with Kim Mohan,
oh.
right? And it was just like so cool that everything was coming together. That was kind of symbolic of me joining Wizards of the Coast
and
actually making it into TSR.
That's a perfect piece of art for you. It really is. That's awesome.
He still does on contract or on occasion, but yeah, he just retired recently.
Wow.
You get that, and I get a Lloyd Metcalf original of me and Bill Webb as a breast on some woman. That's what I'm famous for, and that T-shirts that swear about me. Yeah.
Hey, you are the leader nominally of your own cult, so
no, I'm not.
There's some
leaders of their own cult get the cool parts of it, not the bad parts.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pulling up. I do have. I think you guys might remember this, but I have original Satan art here.
Oh Lord, yes,
that is one of the high-priced items that could be had at the midnight auction.
Now, unfortunately, I'm having to grade this as only a good minus because it got defaced by Lloyd.
Right. Oh man.
Okay, hold on, that's not fair. I'll show you.
Oh boy. Here we go. That's fantastic. That is so great.
You have that, but I have this picture of. That's where I got that because my wife. This is Krista Webb made a print for my wife. This is not even.
You got a print?
Krista Webb made it for my wife and sent it to her for Christmas. And she hangs it in my. I tried to hide it, and she comes back and puts it in my room.
Nothing but class on this show. Nothing but class, man. Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's pretty amazing.
But that's the kind of memories you have at the North Texas. I mean, it's just that type of con. Just
You can't bring them up.
Fantastic.
Do you get to go to a lot of other cons, or is your schedule just too packed?
No, my schedule is pretty packed. I'm kind of, work from the Renton office, and I'm kind of directing things from there, but it's difficult for me to get away. Just
Tell me about it.
Time and money. Though I did go to Gamehole Con for the first time
You did?
just recently, which was
You had
fantastic.
fun?
And I went to Gen Con a couple of times, but when I'm having to just really pick and choose, North Texas is number one.
Yeah.
Right, for me. It's just my kind of con, from the size, from the community.
You told Lauren Schick he had great hair. And in person, I was there. And you know what? I remember that because he did. That kind of stuff you don't get.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a lie.
No, he had the best hair I've ever seen. He had pirate hair.
Yeah.
Like a fancy pirate.
That's the kind of thing you can do there. You're just hanging out in the bar with Lawrence and Alan Hammock and just being like, okay, this is just the coolest thing
Oh,
ever.
I've got
When
plenty
is
of
the sequel to
stories about
Heroic
that
Worlds
hammock.
coming out, Lawrence? Oh, boy. So,
Go
you
ahead.
got more, Skeeter? You got more serious questions?
I have so many. I was going through this all in my head, and now that we're in the middle of it, I can't think of anything.
You want to play around?
I'll say, let me give you another story about conventions, because this really all started for me with not Gary Con, but I was at Lake Geneva Con 1 in
wow.
2005. And so that's where I got the taste of these small, intimate conventions, where it was, I think, like 150 people at that con at the Cove in Lake Geneva.
I think Steve Chenault and Troll Lord sponsored that, I think.
Yep. And I went in there, and it had that flavor of North Texas. It was very early days, right? But it was just, because it was at Lake Geneva and because it was so small, the guest to attendee ratio was just crazy.
It was basically almost, it wasn't even you couldn't even do a good denominator.
Yeah,
they all lived there.
And people who were showing up who weren't even like on the list, like Brian Bloom showed up, Mike Carr just kind of showed up.
You can wander in
the area. and one of the greatest days of my entire life was, I decided, okay, Gary had this small stroke, so he wasn't really traveling anymore. So they brought the convention to him. This is one of the reasons they did it. And I'm like, I need to go and meet Gary Gygax. My entire goal of this was to go and shake his hand. Like, that was my goal. If I could do just that, then I succeeded. So I traveled all the way there, and he posted on, I think, Dragon's Foot. He said, hey, I got there a day early, and he said, hey, if anybody's here early, why don't you come over to my house for a barbecue? And I'm like,
yes, God of nerves.
Fuck you.
The greater God of nerve, I'll be right
and
there.
So I'm like, it's not me. I'm pretty much an introvert, but I had to go. So I went and bought like a 6-pack of his favorite beer, the New Glaus, I think it's pronounced, something like that, and went up and knocked on his door very timidly. He answered the door, and he's like, hi, I'm Gary Gygax. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, at that moment, like, it was just magic.
I would just leave the beer and turn around and leave. I wouldn't know what to do.
It was like, I felt like it was in, like I was in Vegas. Like, I shook Gary's hand, right? It was like Sinatra and shaking his hand. It was like that moment. And then he's like, brings me in, and I was hanging out on the famous porch.
Yep.
And that was that moment where I realized that there was about 3 people there, including myself, who had just come to the convention. Everybody else was former TSR employees. And there was like 20 people there. I am freaking out.
That is amazing.
It's like, oh, Tom Wom just
walked
in the door.
Without name tags, you don't know. Because you have the name on every credit page, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what Alan Hammock looked like, but now I do. But then I looked at his name tag, like, You wrote Ghost Tower. Remember this? That was my first module. Oh, how exciting.
You know,
Darlene, I
and
couldn't talk to her. I was so afraid, like a schoolboy. Little nervous.
Gary had that, he has that charisma 18. Like, even though I was just this random person, for brief moments, he made you feel like you were the only one in the room.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh yeah, no. The one time I got to interact, sort of meet with him, was at Gen Con. I was at the Troll Lords booth. I'm thumbing through these books, and it was when the Castle Zagig stuff was coming out. It was like the first thing, and it was like, oh, there's a numbered one. Man, I'm gonna buy this. So this little old guy says, hey, can I help you with that? And I'm like, nah, I'm cool, man. I got it. And it was Gary.
You wanted to sign
So
it, didn't you?
I brushed him off. And then he was like, yeah, just let me sign it. And I was like,
He goes that way. Every time he's met somebody, he's done something like that to make sure.
oh, yeah. Totally stupid.
Otis.
I am the worst at meeting people, but it was so perfect. Like, I mean, he was very warm and inviting to you. That was perfect for you. He gave me shit. That was the perfect way to meet him. So
I never met him.
And Zach gets exactly what he deserves. But yeah, no, just in, I mean, the brief seconds, I think I managed to say thank you for everything, and it actually came out coherently. At least that's what my memory tells me. It was probably like, and then I ran away.
And then I was in his game when he like exploded. I'm like, this is the greatest day ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and that's the thing. Now that, you know, at North Texas, when these guys are running games, I mean, occasionally I can get into one of these games, and it is still so.
It used to be easier. Now it's getting
yeah,
harder.
no, it's hard as shit now. But I instantly become 12 years old again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I got my deities and demigods signed by Jeff D, I turned into an 8-year-old kid. And these yahoos just will never let me live it down.
Oh yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
When I see Jeff D at North Texas, I still just freak out. Jeff D, let me give you my let me take you to my basement.
Oh boy. Yay!
That's not nearly as creepy as I thought it would be.
I have those on my wall.
Like I said, I'm pretty much a minimalist, except for when it comes to
Jeff D.
D&D.
Oh,
this is
man.
my shrine to D, and it goes. I have pieces that go all the way around.
Yes, check.
There's room. I could live down there. I'll just take up the corner.
I remember that. Were you the one who bought his? He made one extra one that only went to a backer on his Kickstarter. There was one of those for all the TSR art recreations.
I did not get the originals, but I just recently had him create a new piece that represented a moment in time for the cover of Village of Hamlet that happened like 3 seconds before the cover actually took
Oh
place.
man, that's awesome.
I mean, I think I've got that one.
You just had that one done?
Yeah, there, right there.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call up Jeff D and have him do some stuff, man. It's no big deal.
I mean,
Mike
but that's
has original Rosloff of the Queen of the Demonweb pits with his party playing in it because they went through the whole adventure. They went to 3 years to go through the whole arc. And Rosloff drew a picture of his party fighting in the final chamber.
He has that?
Yeah, he does.
I'm gonna need to take
but
that
it's his
from
party,
him.
so they're not cool. It's like, you know, when the cool kids go, it's different. But,
No,
you know,
that would be super cool. Well, that is amazing.
that is amazing.
You know, but when you're able to go to places like North Texas and still just hang around and talk to, you know, Jeff D and Errol Otis, you know, and Diesel, you can still do that, and they're so approachable. It's just fantastic.
No, and I still have that thing like Zach said about Darlene. I mean, she sets up at her table, and I've bought her coloring books, but like walking up and down the hallway next to her, she always somehow like makes eye contact, and I'm just like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact.
We had her sign like 12 Greyhawk map halves,
Yeah.
doing
I
it.
mean,
I don't even know where I get all these maps. They keep showing up. I keep getting them signed. The last time I actually had one that she already signed.
well, and it's crazy because she'll be sitting there and Wampler will be sitting next to her. They're having a conversation, and like I'll come over and start talking, and I am completely focused on Jim. I won't. I feel like I am offending her if I make eye contact. It's just I'm a kid.
That map meant so much to me, but there are people after me with a favorite map that's all different. But that I remember staring at for hours, like what's happening here.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple of them folded up on the shelf right there.
I got a bunch too, but they're all signed by Darlene. Yours aren't.
No, they aren't, because I won't ask her.
I'm going to say that one of the things I collect are the TSR license stuff from overseas. I collect a lot of the foreign language editions, and I want to know if you can get any of the Israeli stuff. Can you? Because I can't find any. I'm just kidding.
The like the old stuff.
Yeah, the old stuff. They have two of them: the Lunar Women and the Maelstrom one.
I've got, like I said, I got a ton of it for 25 cents a piece.
Do you have the stuff that was made in the Hebrew? Sorry, sorry I had to do this in the middle of your show, Skeeter.
No, this is exactly the kind of stuff that happens on this show.
Yes.
Here.
Because he's just gonna flip
He's
through
gonna have
and
it.
find
He's gonna
something.
have the one I'm looking for. I just know it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so mad.
You know, this actually does seem like an outtake from Ocean's 11. We've got the dude in the button-down shirt and the tie going, yeah, I got exactly what you need right here.
Oh man, if that's actually about the HM1, oh, I'm gonna case the joint, man. I don't care if they're under lock.
That is cracking me up.
I'm gonna have to.
I'm glad you don't have it there.
I don't have the Hebrew.
My wife would laugh
right
for the
here,
rest of my life. My wife would never let me.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
I'll trade you one of these.
Those those are all French, German, and Japanese.
Oh, I have my collection of those. I'm looking for Hungarian too.
Oh my God!
I can't help it.
You collector nerds.
Look, my parents got not tricked, but they got convinced to buy me a lot of stuff that came out of the stuff from Rick Mines from Chaosium's library of Japanese books, and they gave me a gift in a restaurant, and it's like, well, what did they get me? I thought it was a coffee maker. That's what they got last time. I opened it up, and there's a copy of Stormbringer in Japanese, and then there's this huge box still there
in Japanese.
In Japanese. So I got a Japanese version of Migo and a Japanese Wendigo. I got the Japanese Wendigo in a box.
He keeps saying this because he knows it physically hurts me.
I know.
That he got that.
No, but I thought I was going to have a heart attack in the restaurant because who knew that my parents would find out? Apparently, Bill Meinhardt was at the bottom of that.
Yeah, I saw that
Meinhardt
big pile of books you just pulled off of that shelf.
Well, this is my latest collecting purchase, which I thought you
let's see. No,
appreciate.
Definitely.
Right.
Oh, hey. So we finally got rid of those, huh? No,
I'm trying to get every 5th edition that Frog God has made. So
well, if you need help getting some of those, I can help you out. Skeeter Green and I worked on that blight together.
This
we
thing
all killed each other. Yeah.
Oh,
when is gonna make a
this
book
is
that
a
big?
weapon.
Oh yeah.
That could stop a bullet.
We shot it with a 44.
Yeah.
By we, I mean me and Bill. Curt had nowhere near there. No, but Skeeter and I, the fact that we can get along now is only because we survived doing that for 2.5 months.
Yeah, that was intense.
It was intense because you had to convert 1,200 pages from 5e to Swords of Wizardry, and after a while, it became less scientific.
Well,
what's your favorite? I want to know what's your favorite non-gaming product that's like ephemera, accessory, license thing that from TSR back, say, was stopping in 92 or 93.
My favorite ephemera, like what I own?
Like a War Duke Shrinky Dinks, for example.
I actually would say that this is also falls under one of my favorite possessions here. Is my
oh wow,
my official RPGA.
Right. Who signed it? Is there a signature on it?
It is, but it's Thomas Robertson, who I've kind of
him.
I don't know who that is.
He was quickly ousted in the coup of 1983. What did John Pearson call it? The sabotage at Sheridan Springs or something like that?
Yeah.
No, and so tell me this: how often you have to get like you hear or see pitches, I guess, for millions of products. I'm gonna guess, and you can't say it, but I'm gonna say it for me. I'm gonna guess you get stuff that you wish that you never heard of. The things that are like so weird or creepy. You're like, no, I don't think we need D&D on that. And you don't have to say what it is, but I just think that your job, that must be interesting.
Well, I don't hear those pitches.
Does it fit
Occasionally,
in a box? Is that the pitch you get? Does it fit in a car? Is it a shipping container box?
what they that's like the licensing department.
Oh, okay.
They come to me saying along the lines of, they talk to me about like, is it legal customs wise to produce this? What challenges would we have?
Every question that starts with is it legal, you always say no.
Yeah, probably not.
Ask Skeeter. There.
Yeah, no.
But they do come and ask me about a lot of the historical stuff, because I am kind of known as one of the people in the company, probably one of the main people in the company, who kind of have kept track of all this stuff and really care about the history.
Were you the guy that made the little mini books for first edition? Was that you?
That would be amazing.
Yes, it was.
Was it really? I love those. Oh, wow. Really?
I have an Italian background.
It's awesome. I have the Fiend Folio in the Player's Handbook. I'm looking for the other one. The boxes are hard. But I have the Dragon, all the modules. I had Jeff Easley sign them. He's like, what is this?
That was one of the, as far as collecting is concerned, I had to cut off that I would not collect the ephemera because it would just get too crazy.
I won't collect expensive stuff, so we're even.
Yeah, I had to stop collecting because I got mad. I got mad at my collection, if that makes any sense. I was like, damn it, I don't. Oh.
I mean, how could you not buy, what is it called? Adorable figurines of adorable power, Curt. How could you not buy that?
Those are great.
They're awesome.
I am fortunate enough that occasionally those show up on my desk. Now that's awesome.
Lawsuit.
One's official. No,
I think those are both official, actually.
I don't think this originally was. I think this is one of those when he was gonna. They won't sue me kind of things. This is like second game hole. I'm sure they are now.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you can even speak to this if this is under your umbrella, Curt. But since so much of that stuff is now being used by different pop culture sources, is Wizards relaxing on some of the IP things, or is that still very locked down on the 6 or 8 monsters?
That's an area that I really have no idea on.
No, I just and the only reason that I ask, I'm not trying to get any inside information, but just like that, like
what would you do it if you had it?
The little pop figures. Nothing. Be excited.
Yeah.
But they're doing so much of the the Funko Pops and the little monster things.
Look,
so much of that
worms.
is everywhere.
That's my first Funko Pop.
I'm just pleased that D&D is becoming more and more just a part of regular pop culture, and in a positive way.
Right. I mean, it's.
I gotta work hard to get cool nerd shirts that have D&D on them before every other nerd has them. I mean, honestly, it's like Run D&D was funny the first time I saw it, but it had 6 people wearing it at the next convention. Like, no, I have a status here.
Okay, so we're at an hour, so we're gonna start wrapping up. I'm gonna ask you one question, and think about this one before you answer.
Okay.
What is a WotC scoop for a product that's coming out that we can promote on the show, so like 12 people can know about it 5 minutes early? What's the hot thing that is going to come out? And it can be announced.
You can make
this is announced that the product that's coming out next is actually going to be a tie-in to Magic the Gathering, but it is our tie-in with Theros, which is one of the Magic realms. It's a campaign setting for Theros.
Sweet.
It has kind of a Greek flavor to it. But if you kind of like running campaigns in kind of a Greek style world, no, it's just fantastic. I would also say that I am personally incredibly excited for a product that we don't have a release date on yet, but we have a trailer for it, and it's definitely been announced, and that's Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
which
didn't
is
they announce that while you were at North Texas or something? Because you were around when I heard about it. Like,
yeah.
that's when I first knew I couldn't think I was getting any
No,
insight. I keep showing up, and things, don't say anything.
I've seen the trailer for that, and it is amazing looking.
Yeah. It looks old school, like, but with enough modern added to it that
Right.
it is captures both feel
And so
feeling
you'll
of modern
debate it,
and
right?
what's
I
that?
actually might need something from you. The key.
Well, what I'm
excited about
hoping,
that.
yeah, what I'm hoping is with all the advances in the technology for films, that there is just a hardcore D&D movie that comes out that hits on all cylinders.
Dude, it'd always be about the Wayans brother that was in it. I'll never.
No, shut up. I do not acknowledge
Jeremy
that.
Irons was at his finest when in that movie.
No, I mean, I'm just waiting. That would be so amazing. Even if it's a Netflix special, which would be so much better because it could be a whole campaign. God, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, we did, this isn't D&D, but we did announce that we do have a Magic the Gathering Netflix special coming out relatively soon.
Oh.
I knew you had Godzilla in Magic.
But the showrunners on it are the Russo brothers.
Oh.
Like right after they finish Endgame, they're like, oh, we'll do Magic.
Okay. Well, take my ticket money.
I wanted the Gangbusters movie.
Zach. On that note, we are going to wrap up.
All right.
Curt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for showing us the collection stuff and your vast knowledge.
We can promise to edit anything you want to before we post it.
I appreciate that, but
we could promise that.
We promise a lot of stuff, Curt. We have clips. I got pictures of you at certain auctions. We put those on the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that'll be
holding certain books.
Yeah, no.
Certain books that needed to be destroyed.
Yeah, and you destroyed it, right?
And I'm sure that was handled. All right, thank you, Curt. Everybody, tune in, subscribe.
God damn it! See you guys some other time.
God damn it, Zach.
God damn it, Zach.
Yeah.